guests from the Worcester Red Sox, Providence College, Bryant University, Mount St. Charles Academy, and our very own Brendan McGeer will all provide expert analysis as well as highlight the happenings in the Blackstone Valley. I want to hear from you, so be sure to call in 401-766-1240. 766-1240 every Saturday, 9 to 10 on 99.5 FM, 1240 AM, and OneSocketRadio.com. Go Celtics!
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON, Woonsocket Radio, ON, AM, and FM. This ON, AM, and FM forecast is sponsored by Lotus Fine Thai Restaurant, featuring more than 20 appetizers like paradise beef and scallion pancakes. Try their lemongrass chicken or pad thai. The Lotus Fine Thai Restaurant is at 175 Eddie Dowling Highway, North Smithfield. Eat in or take out 290-7665. Sunny skies today with a high near 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 57. Sunday's weather, just a tiny chance of a shower or thunderstorm late in the day, partly sunny skies with a high of 82. Memorial Day Monday, a 40% chance of a shower in the afternoon, cloudy skies, 70 degrees. Monday night, rain. Tuesday, leftover rain in the morning turns into a partly sunny day with a high of 79. Wednesday, mostly sunny and 76. Thursday, partly sunny and 69. And on Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 70.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have 72 degrees. Good morning and happy Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all of our veterans that have served, to all the men and women that have served. My name is Kevin Callahan, and I am the host of Kevin's Sports Show, and this is my first broadcast. You may know me from high school football the last couple of seasons here on ON, AM, and FM. But you're probably more familiar with my brother, Joe Callahan, host of the longest-running panel radio show in America, Coffee and, every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 in the morning. Well, I am now the host of the shortest-running radio show in America called Kevin's Sports Show. Just a little bit about me. I grew up along with my brothers playing sports, specifically hockey and baseball. My first heartbreak, the 1978 Boston Red Sox. Before the 21st century hit, I thought it couldn't get much better than 1986. Patriots making the Super Bowl and losing. The Bruins making the conference finals, losing. The Celtics would win, unbeknownst to all of us at their time, their last NBA World Championship until 2008. The Red Sox, well, still bothers me to talk about that heartbreak. And the PC Friars, under Rick Pitino, made the Final Four. 5 rooting interests. 1 champion, 4 non-winners. The future was bright, as you know. Who knew the future was going to take 15 years? But the 21st century has been good to us New Englanders if you are a fan of the 4 major sports teams in the area. Here on Kevin's Sports Show, we're going to take a look at 4 major New England sports teams, but also go in maybe in some different directions, focus on the great happenings locally. We have guests lined up from the Worcester Red Sox, Providence College, Brown University, Mount St. Charles Academy, the junior hockey program, Cumberland High School athletic director, the Blackstone Valley Calls and Times sports reporter, Brendan McGeer, and we are lining up more and more as we speak. We have local sports and opportunities, folks, within a 30 to 40-minute drive that can captivate the average sports fan at very reasonable prices. We have AAA baseball, AHL hockey. We have Division I football, basketball, at Bryant, at Brown, at URI, at PC. We have Division I hockey in 2 local colleges, not to mention D1 soccer, lacrosse, baseball, softball, all nearby for you to take advantage of. So from week to week, we'll discuss what's happening in the world of sports. Sometimes I envision it will be light and fun, and sometimes we'll be discussing something that's a little bit bigger than all of us. But for the most part, we're going to keep things pretty light. We'll talk about different topics in the area that are happening, whether it's high school sports, college sports, what have you. We plan on having Brendan McGeer on today to talk about one of his articles that he wrote a couple weeks ago. So we'll preview that a little bit more a little bit later on. But let's go around the league and around the leagues right now. Last night in the NBA, we had a very exciting matchup with Dallas Mavericks with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Dallas takes a 2-0 lead in the series, going up, like I said, 2-0 on the road at Minnesota. Dallas winning 109-108. Luka Doncic, 32 points last night with a game winner with 3.2 seconds left in the game. In those two games, Dallas won game one 108-105. They win game two 109-108. 4 total point margin of difference, and now Dallas goes home to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Personally, I hope, and I'll get to the Celtics a little bit later, I hope the Celtics face the Mavericks in the NBA World Championship, going for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. It'll be a great opportunity. One, I think Dallas is a better matchup for the Celtics than the Timberwolves, who just knocked off the defending champion Denver Nuggets. But I think for the Celtics, there's inherent drama built in with the Mavericks because old friend Kyrie Irving is on the Dallas Mavericks. He's been kind of skating under the radar this year in Dallas, a passionate town to say the least. And he's been skating under the radar down there. And I think once Dallas plays the Celtics, the Garden will be rocking for that great series and giving Kyrie the homecoming that he has gotten in the last few years, which is not always the friendliest. Speaking of your Boston Celtics, who will open up tonight, or open up in Cleveland tonight, they own a 2-0 series lead over the over the Cavaliers tonight. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. The Indiana Pacers. And first show jitters, I guess you'd say. Jaylen Brown pumping in 40 points on the first game. And Jason Tatum with 36 points back in game one. An overtime victory thriller, game one in the Garden. Jason Tatum with a big turnover late in the game, which got the ire of many local Boston sports fans, sports journalists, getting the ire of the local fans with a bad turnover, but a great recovery. And Jaylen Brown with just about 5.5 seconds left, hitting a three-pointer to send the game into overtime. Then Jason Tatum did take over in the overtime. An exciting win. Game two, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown took over. Jaylen Brown, 40 points. Actually, Tatum was the third highest scorer on the team for game two. Drew Holiday with 28 points in game two. Over in the NHL last night, the New York Rangers in overtime defeat the Florida Panthers 2-1 to even up that series, one game each in the NHL Eastern Conference Finals. And as mentioned earlier, in the Western Conference Finals, in double overtime on Thursday night, Connor McDavid with the game-winning goal just 36 seconds into the second overtime to win that game 2-1 and giving Edmonton a 1-0 lead over the Dallas Stars. Connor McDavid, just his third goal of the playoffs, though he does have 20 assists. Connor McDavid, called by many the best player in the NHL, has been kind of scrutinized this playoffs for only having 3 goals. He had a chance with about 5 minutes left in the first overtime, but Jake Ottinger for the Dallas Stars goaltender stopped him big time with 5 minutes to go. And Connor McDavid was quoted as saying afterwards on TNT, "I really should have put that one away. I'm sorry to keep everyone hanging around a little bit longer." And I can relate to that. Thursday night, I made it through the first overtime. Had I known that the game was going to end just 36 seconds into the second overtime, I would have stayed up for the second overtime. I just assumed maybe a 3 or 4 overtime game was coming that night. For Dallas in that game, old friend Tyler Seguin, not as chastised as Kyrie Irving, but Tyler Seguin had 2 goals in that game as well for the Dallas Stars, tied it up late in the third period, his 5th and 6th goals of the series. So interesting thing about hockey, staying on the hockey topic, all 4 teams that are left in the conference finals, have never won a Stanley Cup in the 21st century. The Florida Panthers have never won a Stanley Cup. The Dallas Stars last won it in 1999. The Edmonton Oilers, last winners in 1990. And the New York Rangers, last winners in 1994, and that was their first win since 1940. So you can say it's been a pretty long dry spell for the New York Rangers. Just one Cup win in the last 84, 86 years for the Rangers. Edmonton also representing a whole country right now. The whole country of Canada has not won the Stanley Cup since 1993, when the Montreal Canadiens were the last team to do that. Locally last night, the Boston Red Sox coming up coming up short against the surprising Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers 28-21 coming into that game. They put a 7-2 win on your Boston Red Sox, dropping the Red Sox to 26-25 on the season. 9 games out of first, just 1.5 games out if you're starting to look, and I have out of the wild card spot in the American League. So it's we're coming up on first break here on ON. We'd like to thank you for listening to Kevin's Sports Show, the premier show here on WOON 1240 AM, 99.5 FM, and OneSocketRadio.com. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back right after this.
ON 1240.
The latest Buick and GMC models, as well as used cars, trucks, and SUVs, can be found at Tasca Buick GMC in Woonsocket. The Buick Encore GX is a sporty SUV that strikes a distinctively athletic tone. The Envision has a suite of 6 advanced safety and driver assistance technologies that come standard. The GMC Sierra 1500, Acadia, and Terrain trucks are on the lot now at Tasca Buick GMC. Visit TascaBuickGMC.com to see their entire inventory of new and used cars. Tasca Buick GMC, Fortin Drive, Woonsocket, is open 7 days a week.
To avoid long waiting periods in hospital emergency rooms, your option is North Smithfield Urgent Care and Lincoln Urgent Care, where you'll be seen by a board-certified physician in a comfortable and restful setting. Most importantly, you'll have a diagnosis and information about your medical discomfort. In other words, peace of mind. North Smithfield Urgent Care, 594 Great Road, North Smithfield, and Lincoln Urgent Care, across from the Lincoln Mall. You do have a choice.
Welcome to summer, and John Moran of A.J. Moran Incorporated says now is the time to get those projects done that you've been putting off. Masonry, patios, walkways, hardscape, and landscape. A.J. Moran will work with you to create the design that you want. Your web destination to contact A.J. Moran Incorporated is ajmoraninc.com or search A.J. Moran Incorporated on Facebook. A.J. Moran Incorporated has been servicing Massachusetts and Rhode Island for more than 30 years. Contact John Moran at 781-267-6827, 781-267-6827. A.J. Moran Incorporated.
ON, AM, and FM.
And welcome back to Kevin's Sports Show. I'd like to thank John Moran from A.J. Moran for sponsoring Kevin's Sports Show this week. We have on the phone, we have Brendan McGeer. And like I mentioned in the opening, from week to week, we might be bringing up different topics on the air. And before I bring in Brendan, just a quick little snippet. Several weeks ago, and Brendan correct me on this, it was either May 6th or May 8th. Brendan wrote about Woonsocket High School baseball coach Tommy Bryan resigning rather abruptly from the Woonsocket High School baseball coach as the Woonsocket High School baseball coach. And Brendan wrote a great article on that, and that's why I wanted to have Brendan on. So, Brendan, welcome. You are officially my first guest ever on the Kevin Sports Show. Beyond the honor of that, and hopefully you can get through the rest of your weekend knowing that excitement. Brendan, I have my thoughts. I kind of read through in between the lines a little bit on the article. I was wondering if you could kind of summarize the article and we can have a little back and forth of my thoughts and your thoughts.
Well, first of all, Kevin, congratulations on the show. Best of luck to everything. And, it's funny on a weekend when we should be talking about teams getting ready for the playoffs and hopefully, having a little postseason glory attached to their season. We're talking about a coach who, like you said, abruptly resigned. And what I mean abruptly, just, studying the scenes, how I found out, when Socket was supposed to play, I believe, a non-leaguer against East Greenwich that Saturday, I was actually at Barrington High School covering track, and I heard that the coach, quit abruptly. So I've known Tommy Breen for a while, and I reached out and I actually talked to him on the phone that Saturday, and he kind of laid the groundwork for what happened. And the next day we talked more for a story that I ran in the Monday call. It was quite, I guess, eye-opening to once again hear what he had to say. But if you look at all the stories you read across society, it's not really shocking, because these are happening more and more frequent where across the country, because of travel ball and because of other things, parents, I think they have a greater say in terms of what goes on, of how their kid is deployed. If their kid isn't used properly, they're going to voice their concern. And, especially maybe even in a public school like Woonsocket, they're taxpayers. They feel like their kid should get a fair shake, and they go to the coach. The coach feels, they threaten a little bit. Administrators have to get involved, and next thing you know, the coach says, he throws his arms up in the air and says, "I'm done." Pure and simple.
Yeah, it's amazing, Brendan. You know a little bit about my history. I'll tell the listeners. I have three children, all played sports. One is currently still playing in college. One did play in college, and I have a sophomore in high school. So I've been a sport parent now for almost 20 years, and I've seen it just get worse with the parents. And through my years of coaching, it's one of the reasons why I always like being the assistant coach, Brendan. You don't get all the headaches, you don't get all the phone calls, you don't get all the emails that the head coach usually gets. But in this situation, I mean, the coaches, they spend the 2 hours of practice and the 2 to 3 hours in a game for 6 days a week, sometimes 7, at least 5 in interscholastic, but the hours behind the scenes, getting their team ready, the stuff, the parents see the 2-hour game. They don't see the 10 hours of practice that went into the game. They don't see how well their child performed in practice. What was their attitude like in practice? Are they coachable in practice? Would you say that Tommy expressed some of the same sentiments to you on that, or what do you think?
I just feel like there was a tipping point where, for him, just maybe it was an over accumulation of a season. Let's be blunt. When Socket did not make the playoffs, did not have a very good season, or at least up to their expectations that they thought going in. And you get, there are rumblings of, frustration and things like that. It builds, and next thing you know, like, players are being taken out in the middle of games, and parents, obviously they're going to protect their kids like a lion protecting their cubs, and they're going to question what is going on. The coach, I think coaches more and more are wielding less power these days, because I just feel that, they don't want to run the gamut of dealing with the administration, because, administration hires these coaches to do the coaching, to deal with these issues. And if it gets exacerbated, that's when they have to step in. But it's an unfortunate situation, because, stepping away from it, Tommy Breen cared a lot for that Woonsocket community. If you go up to Renault Field, he's during the game, he used to have a fish and chip truck there. He used to have a full pork truck there. He, put in a batting cage. He got a turtle. As you know, Kevin, those things are not cheap.
No.
He's really done a great job investing in that program, and I think that probably hurt him too, in the sense that I've given my soul to these kids, and I think get a little respect back in the event that I make a coaching move that doesn't agree with him. I think that was probably a frustrating aspect for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I said, all the time and effort that you're putting in behind the scenes. And I think you had written in your article, Brendan, he raised, correct me if I'm wrong, $15,000 for the program, and you have, and I'm assuming this because I've seen it in other high school sports. You have a roster of 18 to 20 players. You can only play nine players at a time, and it's so right away you're gonna have 9 to 12 parents upset at you because right away on game one, because their child's not playing.
But also, too, you're going to have parents upset you because you did make the varsity, Kevin. You have to deal with those parents as well because thou shalt not put my son on junior varsity.
And that's been a huge change. That's something I didn't even think about. I see it now. My children, my 3 kids are separated by 9 years. My oldest, my youngest. And my oldest, when he made the freshman team, that was good. The progression was, freshman, JV, varsity. Now, I mean, in a very short period of time, I'm not quite sure when this happened, but being assigned to the JV team, or God forbid, the freshman team, as a freshman, it's an insult of all the time and money I've spent on my child. How dare you put them on JV or freshman? They should be playing over the senior in front of them. It's maddening, actually, Brendan.
Well, but that also speaks to that parent because they probably made a major financial commitment to their travel ball program, maybe up towards the neighborhood of $5,000 a season, and that's probably on the low side. But all of a sudden you're thinking, why is my kid on JV? I made a major investment in him. How dare you put him on junior varsity? Don't you know that he's on a travel ball team? Well, as you know, Kevin, travel ball isn't like what it used to be either. It's not the select group of people anymore. It's like everybody, you go walk down the street, there's a travel ball team anywhere you look. So there's a lot of them out there, and I think that they've lost a little bit of maybe of their prestige in terms of getting the real best players out there. But just going back to the high school, my kid plays travel ball. He should be doing X, Y, and Z, and the varsity baseball coach doesn't maybe not see it that way, and that's an issue for some people to grasp.
Yeah, and not knowing the whole Woonsocket High School situation other than your article, I do know that Tommy, he bleeds maroon. I mean, he grew up, he's a Woonsocket alum. He took over in 2018 for the team. He lives for this, and for him just to resign abruptly. What was that?
A dream job.
He did a
dream job.
Yeah, a dream job and forced out by parents. And then I was surprised to see, and again, I don't know the administration, but I was surprised to see administration at the game. And I again, not knowing the situation, I'm just from your article and reading between the lines, it seems like parents may have called administration and complaining. And reading your article again, I didn't see anything. He wasn't a bad guy. He's not physically hurting the kids. He may have been coaching them, but even in your article, he mentioned that the left fielder not knowing how to back up a play at third base on a steal from the catcher. And this is the stuff he's teaching at varsity. This is stuff that should have been taught by the travel team back when that player was 10 or 11, or at least in Little League, or at least, in Babe Ruth ball at another level before varsity. And he's having to teach his players the basics of the game that the players should know as students of the game.
And I think that was frustrating for him as well. He just wanted to maybe do more, take the sandpaper out, smooth out the rough edges, so to speak. Instead, he's got almost like, it's like rudimentary all over again. It's like day one of minor division Little League. It's, here you go. When the ball's hit here, you got to be here. If the catcher's making a throw and you're the outfielder, you got to be backing up third or first base.
Yeah, exactly. And if there was one thing that kind of happened during the summer of the COVID year, at first as a sports parent, I was disappointed, but now I've kind of embraced it. When the games were going on, they kept parents away basically from foul pole to foul pole, Brendan. And I think that might be maybe not foul pole to foul pole, but far away from the coaches, get away from the backstop. I don't like seeing parents there as a parent. There's too much coaching from the sidelines and not enough listening to the actual coach on the field, the one that's paid to do the job, and not paid very much either.
No, not paid very much. I mean, I don't, Kevin, and coaching is really a labor of love at this point. And it's, and if you lose that, then what are we doing? We're driving away good people like Tommy Green who care about the community, they care about the kids, and they just want to see them have a very good high school baseball experience. If we lose people like that, then the coaching aspect of it is going to just simply suffer.
No, exactly. So it's and to be clear, this is not just a Woonsocket issue by any stretch of the imagination. This is nationwide. Brendan, you must have seen it, up and down Rhode Island in your coverage. It just happened to hit, Rhode Island and Woonsocket locally just within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the top, Kevin, you go to social media sometimes, and it's AAU basketball season right now, and you see, coaches, getting chesty with officials, and so-and-so pattern has to be escorted out of the gym because they didn't like the call, and you find out it's like fourth or fifth grade. It's and you bring up the COVID year of how parents were basically told to get away from the backstop area, more so because of our safety, even though we were outdoors. That's a story for another day. But in that 2021 year, also for high school, for gyms, for basketball games indoors, there weren't parents allowed, there weren't dads allowed at those games. They had to watch them on streaming services. And was it eerie? Yes, absolutely. But I'm sure for those coaches, if you go back to that time, it was probably the most enjoyable aspect because they didn't hear the chirping from the stands.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. But hey, Brendan, before we let you go, though, I do want to ask one other question before it turn things just a little bit lighter and back to the actual sports. All right, we're in the Final Four, the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. What are your thoughts in the NBA and NHL playoffs before we let you go for the Final Four?
Well, I think this is Indiana's last stand tonight. It's unlike Cleveland or Miami in the first two series the Celtics dealt with. They're not. The Pacers don't have a game 3 on their home floor, tied 1-1, and thinking, man, maybe we can really put some seeds of doubt here on the Celtics if we grab game 3, even though we're the quote unquote underdogs. The Pacers, they have to win tonight. If they don't, that series could be a gentleman's sweep. The Celtics celebrating the Eastern Conference Championship on their floor sometime next week. Shifting to the West, I expect that to be a dogfight all the way to the end there, Kevin. It's two teams, that are very. I guess the Mavericks, they've been to the Western Conference Finals for the last couple of years, but one of these Sundays we have Kyrie Irving coming back to Boston to face his old team in the NBA Finals. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, I mean, yeah. With Dave Richards, the owner of the station, giving me this time slot as a sports talk show host now, I would love to see Kyrie Irving come to Boston. The show practically writes itself that way, right?
Absolutely. As people know, as sports writers, and obviously sports people like yourself, it's a paradise. You look into the topics, they're built in like that, and there you go.
Yep. All right, Brendan. Thank you. I'm looking forward to working with you again. Brendan's been my the color commentator for high school football with me for the last 2 years here on ON Radio. And Brendan, thank you so much for joining us, being the first guest on Kevin's Sports Show. And we hope to have you on again in the future as interesting topics like this pop up from time to time. So thank you very much, Brendan. I appreciate it.
Kevin, appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and have a good rest of your weekend.
All right. Thank you as well. That's Brendan McGeer from the from the Blackstone Valley Sports Call and Times. And we thank Brendan. And when we come back on ON Radio, AM and FM, we'll be right back. We'll have about 30 more minutes of Kevin's Sports Show right after this.
ON 1240.
Most automobile accidents, major or minor, are somewhat traumatic. They affect people's routine and employment, sometimes their health. That's why Michaux's Auto Body is committed to addressing all phases of accidents, including repairs, reports, rentals, and stress. They offer the full package. Their promise is to give each person all that they are paying for, and then some. Michaux's Auto Body on Privilege Street in Woonsocket, 769-1983.
Woonsocket Door Sales carries an excellent variety of doors to complement your residence or business, including the LiftMaster security doors that provide you with extra protection against theft. These doors feature a special security ID code to further safeguard your home, business, or valuables in your garage. Remember, an attractive door complements the appearance of your home or business. Woonsocket Door Sales for installation, parts, and repairs. Woonsocket Door Sales, 1 Biltmore Avenue, Cumberland. Call them 767-3448.
Youth leagues and high schools, it's trophy and award season. And when you need to crown your champions and award your MVP, B&M Printing Trophies and Signs is where you should turn. B&M Printing Trophies and Signs, in business since 1982. Owner Carmel Therian offers much more than trophies. They're experts in banners, yard signs, flags, and they'll handle all your printing needs as well. Open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30. B&M has pickup and delivery service available. To see everything that B&M Printing Trophies and Signs has to offer, go to bmprintingweb.com or stop by 1300 Menden Road in Cumberland across from the historic St. Joseph's Church. This ON AM and FM forecast sponsored by Travel Advisors International, 500 Menden Road in Berkeley Commons in Cumberland. Same phone number they've had for 30 years, 7251234. Experienced, trusted travel professionals on the web at www.taitrips.com. Sunny skies today with a high near 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 57. Sunday's weather, just a tiny chance of a shower or thunderstorm late in the day. Partly sunny skies with a high of 82. Memorial Day Monday, a 40% chance of a shower in the afternoon. Cloudy skies, 70 degrees. Monday night, rain. Tuesday, leftover rain in the morning turns into a partly sunny day with a high of 79. Wednesday, mostly sunny and 76. Thursday, partly sunny and 69. And on Friday, mostly sunny skies, high of 70.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we now have 72 degrees here on WOON Radio. I'm Kevin Callahan, host of Kevin's Sports Show. You just got done listening to Brendan McGeer from the Call in Times. If you'd like to call in at 401-766-1240, share your thoughts on that topic, feel free. 401-766-1240. Not just that topic, but any topic. Anything strikes your interest. If you want to call and correct me because I called the Indiana Pacers the Cleveland Cavaliers, well, you don't have to do that. I already know that. That's fine. I understand that mistake. And I'm going to chalk that one up to opening day jitters. So I'd like to thank Brendan McGeer once again. A topic, like I mentioned, it hits home to me again. 20 years as a sports parent, I've disagreed with coaches mostly on the X's and O's. To be honest with you, it's I've had kids. My own kids have benched in place of other kids. Obviously, I'm not happy about it. And the other, who's really not happy about it? Your child. They're more upset about it than you are. So it's interesting, and it's a very interesting topic. A topic that probably will never go away at all. So it's all right, so it's 9:37 here. If you're interested in calling, 766-1240. And, hey, quick note here. Runners are returning for the Villanova's Pride 5K on Memorial Day. Are you running in the Novan Pride 5K on Monday? I think we're going to have decent weather that day. I think I saw 68 to 70 degrees, maybe a slight chance of a shower, cloudy, not too hot, but late in the day. So it should be good for you. So, hey, why not go out and do a 5K? Support some good causes, and hey, right here in Woonsocket on Memorial Day. Switching topics over to the Boston Bruins. I'd like to hit on a couple things with the Bruins as well. A very interesting offseason as well for them. Some will say that they bowed out too early. Some will say, you know what, compared to last year, they did go further than last year. One, they knocked out the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know why I get such joy in seeing new ways in how the Toronto Maple Leafs can lose a series in such heartbreaking fashion. Maybe it's just seeing 15, 20,000 people gathered at Maple Leaf Square, all celebrating and then just looking all dejected at the same time. It's I used to hate the Canadians, but it's something about the Maple Leafs right now that I've been enjoying. So they did knock out the Maple Leafs, got some joy there. Then they ran into the Florida Panthers, and for some reason the Bruins could not generate any offense other than game 1 and game 5 a little bit, but where they did win. But I noticed the New York Rangers in game 1 against the Florida Panthers played a very similar style to the Boston Bruins in losing that game. Tough to generate any offense, especially through the first 2 periods. So give the Florida Panthers credit. They are doing something to lock down the offense, though the Rangers in overtime last night did even up that series 2-1. But back to the Bruins. The Bruins this past year, salary cap of $83.5 million is rising to $87.5 million. The Bruins have almost $21 million in cap space this year. Next year, they got Matthew Poitras. I'm hoping to have a huge year. He made the team out of camp. They did not send him to juniors. He got injured, and I'm using quotation fingers. There was an injury. I just don't know how serious it was because they were not allowed to send him down to Providence. He was able to play for Team Canada, and then he was kind of like just really not around much. So he was for Team Canada and the U20 World Championship. But I really do hope for him to take a big step up next year. Your unrestricted free agents, Jake DeBrusk, Jonathan Van Riemsdyk, Patrick Maroon, Danton Heinen, Milan Lucic, Matt Grzelcyk, Forbort, and Shattenkirk are your unrestricted free agents, and your restricted free agents, Jesper Boqvist, Jeremy Swayman, and Brandon Bussey. Right away, for the unrestricted free agents, Lucic is off the board. For obvious reasons, they didn't bring him back. Charges were dropped. Personally, and I know there's no way of me proving this, I was against the Lucic signing anyway. He was doing okay at the beginning of the year. They brought him in as a 4th-line guy to throw the body around. I mean, after he left Boston, he jumped around and really didn't do much. I was surprised at the signing of Lucic, and with everything that happened legally, that's an easy write-off off the salary cap. Patrick Maroon, I don't see him coming back. He was a nice addition at the trade deadline. He brought a physical presence, but he's a little bit older. I don't see him re-signing with the Boston Bruins. And again, if you have any thoughts on this, feel free to call in at 401-766-1240. 766-1240. Here is the phone number. I do think Rich from the American Legion asked me yesterday on the Coffee and Show about Jake DeBrusk. And my initial opinion was I think he's going to be asking for too much money from the Bruins. But with the salary cap going up, which I didn't realize it was going up about $4 million, Jake DeBrusk, he compared him to Randy Burridge, good old Stump Burridge, number 12. And second line forwards, third line forwards, scoring 20 or more goals, which DeBrusk has done 2 of the last 3 seasons. You know what? I think I'm changing my mind on DeBrusk. I think the Bruins are going to sign him, maybe not for $6 million a year, but if they can get him for approximately $5 million a year, I think that would be great. A nice pickup, and don't put the pressure on him to be first line forward, but having him on the second or third line, I think that'd be great. Danton Heinen, you got him for cheap money last year. If you can keep him for reasonable money, Heinen had 17 goals, I believe, last year, 13 goals and 17 assists, or 17 goals and 13 assists, and a nice pickup. Heinen had a nice game, a nice season for them. Grzelcyk and Forbort, in my opinion, sorry, it's been nice knowing you, but I think it's time for them to move on. Shattenkirk, I would hold on to him. Older, yes, but cheap money and a good veteran presence. The interesting thing will be coming out of your restricted free agents. Jeremy Swayman, and basically, for those that don't know, restricted free agent means if the, say, Colorado Avalanche offer Jeremy Swayman 5 years at $7 million a year, the Bruins do have the right to match whatever offer they get on the free agent market. Jeremy Swayman, he's young, via University of Maine, from Alaska. He is the guy. He proved it this year in the playoffs, and I think you're going to have to trade Linus Ullmark. If they come back with both goalies, Ullmark is a little over $5 million per year, and Swayman, as a restricted free agent, he will be getting up to $5-6 million himself. Question you need to ask: do the Bruins go with the goalie rotation for $11 million? That's a lot of money off of your $87 million salary cap. So, and then they got Brandon Bussey from Providence. He had a little bit of an off year this past year down in Providence compared to his previous year, but all indications are he would be more than a capable backup for Swayman. So if you can get a good deal for Linus Ullmark, bring in another, maybe a puck-moving defenseman or power forward in a trade, and Ullmark, I believe, has a no-trade clause, then that I think that would be the way to go. I would miss the big hug between Swayman and Ullmark, but that's not really a good reason to keep a goaltender tandem together now, is it? So we're going to take a final break here. In the meantime, think about if you'd like to call in. I'd like to hear your thoughts, 766-1240. Before we go to break, I'm just going to ask one little baseball trivia question if anybody wants to call in. The baseball trivia question: there are 5 Major League Baseball teams that changed their city and their name. For example, the Boston Braves would not be an answer because the Boston, Milwaukee, Atlanta kept the same name, Braves. Can you name the 5 MLB teams that changed their city and their name? If you think you know the answer, call in 401-766-1240, and we'll be back right after this on ON, AM, and FM.
Your station for news and sports. ON 1240.
The latest Buick and GMC models, as well as used cars, trucks, and SUVs, can be found at Tasca Buick GMC in Woonsocket. The Buick Encore GX is a sporty SUV that strikes a distinctively athletic tone. The Envision has a suite of 6 advanced safety and driver assistance technologies that come standard. The GMC Sierra 1500, Acadia, and Terrain trucks are on the lot now at Tasca Buick GMC. Visit TascaBuickGMC.com to see their entire inventory of new and used cars. Tasca Buick GMC, Fortin Drive, Woonsocket, is open 7 days a week.
Tabitha Rose Photography is the photographer for an amazing experience. Hey, if it's time for your youth leagues, high school, or college team pictures, go to the website trosephoto.com, where you can book a private, semi-private, or whole team media day experience at Tabitha Rose Photography. In addition to the media experience for your player, Tabitha also specializes in lifestyle, studio, seniors, engagements, and boudoir sessions. trosephoto.com is the web destination for you, and please be sure to click on the Media Experience tab and be wowed by Tabitha Rose Photography.
State Line Service and Tire Center is a full-service vehicle maintenance and repair center, including computerized engine analysis, wheel alignment, emission testing, exhaust, and more. Their ASE-certified technicians use only quality parts to maintain your manufacturer's warranty. Regular maintenance is important. Remember to check your tires for pressure and wear. If you need tires, State Line will shop for you to get the best possible price, and they welcome any questions you may have about maintaining your vehicle. State Line Service and Tire Center at 1209 Social Street, Woonsocket at the City Line. 765-0146.
ON Radio.
And welcome back to WOON AM and FM. I'm Kevin Callahan, host of Kevin's Sports Talk Show here on ON Radio. Again, thank you to Brendan McGeer earlier. Thank you for Tabitha Rose Photography for being one of our sponsors here on Kevin's Sports Show here on ON Radio. And I just like to make a quick reference again for the Novins Pride 5K on Memorial Day. The family and friends of George Nasuti will continue the late school administrator and coach's legacy, supporting Woonsocket School athletic programs by hitting the pavement once again on Memorial Day for his namesake Novins Pride 5K in East Woonsocket. It's a race walk, once again, set out on a hilly 3.1 mile route, Conrad Street near the Leo Savoy Elementary School, and turn on to Elder Ballou and Menden Road before continuing to Diamond Hill Road, where participants will go uphill to Bound Road before enjoying a downhill section on Elder Ballou back to the starting point. So if you get an opportunity to go out and support that, 5K for George Nasuti, it'd be a great opportunity. It's going to be a beautiful day for running. 68 to 70 degrees, cloudy. Any showers are being held off until late in the day. If you have any thoughts and you'd like to call in, 401-766-1240. And I believe we might have a call here. Let's go to our first call. And hello, you are on the Kevin Sports Show. To whom am I speaking?
This would be Joe Callahan, as a matter of fact.
Okay. I think I know you. Hi, Joe.
I was listening, Kevin. That's riveting, by the way.
No, thank you.
First of all, congratulations on the whole show. I think this is going to work out very well. All right. Secondly, great talk with Brendan McGarry.
Thank you.
About the whole thing that was going on with Tommy Bree and Woonsocket High. So, what do you think about this? Now, the people in Woonsocket are very familiar, or the older people, I should say, our generation, is very familiar with Bruce Villanelle.
Yes.
After Bruce left coaching in Cumberland, he was the AD in Woonsocket for many years.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, after I graduated, I think he took over as AD in Woonsocket, like around 1990, I think.
Right. So before he was AD, he was Cumberland High School's head baseball coach, and before that, he was North Cumberland Middle School's head baseball coach. But now we're also talking 40 years ago.
Right.
Things have changed. But if I remember correctly, maybe you remember a little differently, Kevin. But when I played under Coach Villanelle, he didn't talk to any parents at all for any reason.
Nope.
Never. He never talked to a parent. He talked to you, the player. And so this is 40 years ago. And somehow, I don't know why, but things changed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the coaches started talking to the parents. And I think what do you think? Should we go back to Bruce's way? You tell when you get your team together, it says, I will talk to you. I will not talk to your dad and mom. I don't want to hear from them at all. And you know why you're not playing. You explain it to your parents.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, it's actually, I think coaches are trying it and have been trying it. Like, okay, I'm not dealing with you. I've heard it. I've heard it on Zoom calls now when, people like, okay, we're going to have a meeting here with all the parents. Like, hey, here's the deal. We're going to talk to your kid. We're not going to talk to you. Okay. Right. Here's what happened. Back when Bruce was coaching, he was the only coach. And you might have you had your JV coach and your freshman coach that would join them. I don't even remember having an assistant coach. It was just Coach Bruce.
The JV coach was the assistant coach.
Right.
Coach first base.
Yeah, he would help out if they didn't have a game themselves that day.
Yeah. Right.
So then, so now you have teams that have 3, 4, 5 assistant coaches, and there's a good chance one of them is in the community and is good friends with somebody on the sideline, a parent or whatever. Okay. So you have more familiarity with 4 or 5 coaches. I mean, just in my my boys are done with high school ball, but on the high school baseball team, in Attleboro, I know 2 of the guys very well. One's a neighbor of mine, one of the assistant coaches. You get together, you got the neighborhood fire pit, Joe, and then boom, here come the conversations. Yep. So it's things like that are happening more and more. Also, what's happening, I think, as well, with the internet, with email, with everything, our parents, they weren't going through the hassle of making a phone call in the hopes of getting in touch with the coach who was probably teaching during the day. then go into practice, and they weren't going to call him at home. They weren't looking up his home number. Well, with email and voicemail at the schools, you can now get in touch with the coaches. Many coaches give out their cell phone numbers. So now they're...
Well, to the players, I can see that.
Right. So now the parents get a hold of that. So now, it's, I used to joke at the youth sports show is with, hey, compliments will be accepted on an ongoing basis, but if you're upset with me, please wait 24 hours. We need, you need to step back and relax. Sometimes, you know what? I've actually coached kids when we took them out of a game, they were relieved that we took them out. Right. And the parents were extraordinarily upset. And what we could see is that the player was happy we took him out. He just wasn't having it that day. It doesn't mean he was a bad player. It just that particular day, he was having a bad day. You know what? We're going to give somebody else a chance on this particular day because they've earned it right, too. Again, I got a roster of anywhere from 15 to 23 players where only so many players can play at once. So I think, Joe, it's access to the coach is it's like it's never been before through text, through emails, and the phone calls, whereas our parents would never have thought of calling administration.
Oh, no.
No, and then, and Bruce would have just benched us anyway.
That's true. But I like the idea, and not just baseball, but football, hockey, basketball, track and field, lacrosse, tennis, all of them. At the beginning of the season, the coach has a meeting with the parents and sets the rule.
Yes.
This is the only conversation I'm having with you people right now.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah, and
after today, I'm doing everything through your child.
Yeah, right.
And I don't want to hear from you at all.
Yeah, and
okay.
And
we're gonna go back to that.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, I saw my daughter's softball coach a couple of years ago before she even entered high school. She was a freshman in high school during the winter season. I see the coach out at a restaurant. He's like, "Hey, tell me about your daughter." And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, this makes me very uncomfortable. I go, please make the decision. He goes, oh no, I'm not guaranteeing her playing time. I'm like, oh good. I'm like, he goes, oh no, I would never go there. I'm like, oh good, because it's awkward for me. Because sometimes I call games in Massachusetts, so it's awkward for me to talk, and I don't want to talk to the coach. I'll say hi when I see him. We walk in together. And I'm not going to ignore the coach, but I've got 2 more years to practice what I preach, and I have never offered any coach my advice on X's and O's of the game, and I don't think I will ever.
Well, I do feel bad for Tommy Brien if it was parents that basically forced him to resign. That just drives me crazy.
I was shocked when I read that article from Brendan that not only with parents but administration was there at
backing
the field.
Up the parents and not backing up Tommy. Yeah.
Right, and that just tells me that those phone calls and emails were sent. Again, like I told Brendan, I'm not that familiar with the situation, but just reading through the lines, and I just think it's such a bigger issue than just Woonsocket. It just hit home in Woonsocket. But you've heard me talk through the years, Joe, about some of the parents. I was on a board for years as well, and the parents a lot of them just don't know, and sometimes it's okay not to know. But I have yet to meet a coach that wants to lose. Every single coach I've met, they want to win. They go about it. Some of them go about it differently than I did. And I'm sure I went about it much differently than they would have done. But at that exact moment, I stepped up, to coach that day. So it's a big issue. And I thank Brendan McGeer so much for coming on. And Bruce would not have put up with our parents calling.
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
And maybe the coaches of today just need to go back to that quick meeting at the beginning of the year. This is my expectations of how you will behave, not your kids, how you will behave.
Right.
I will not be talking to you until the end of the season. Do we all understand each other? And leave it at that and see what happens.
And see what happens. And maybe at the end of the year, even at the end of the year, Joe, I don't even know if I want to talk. You know what? If there's a breakup dinner and parents are invited, a banquet or whatever, I'm okay talking with parents then. But still in generalities.
Yeah.
Only in specifics. It's
Yes, I haven't made up the lineup for next year.
Yes.
Talking to a sophomore or junior parent.
Right. And again, I get it. I know some parents are going to be very upset that their player isn't playing. And I do think that there are reasons why. Again, I go back to when I was coaching, and I had I had parents very upset. Like I said to Brendan, I'm glad I was the assistant coach. But what the parent didn't see is the player kept taking themselves out of practice. Oh, my arm hurts. Oh, my leg hurts. Oh, my arm is broken. And miraculously would get better when it was time to shoot free throws.
How about that?
But when we were running up and down the court, for 45 minutes, the leg hurts, and I'm tired, and we're shooting free throws now. Now I'm healthy, so that player got less playing time. And the parents didn't know why. And we're not going to badmouth your 13-year-old to you, because the player was respectful. He just kept bowing out of practice all the time. Like, okay, we move on. We coach the players that are here, and not the ones that aren't.
Don't play the game.
Right. Exactly. So it's it's an interesting topic for sure, and I'm very thankful that Brendan came in and answered all the questions for us. So, Joe, look at the clock, and I see that we are at the end of the show. Thank you for calling in, talking about Bruce. There was a lot of topics I did not get to, especially the local stuff that I really wanted to get to, and I will hit more on next week as Cumberland High School enters the playoffs right now in baseball and softball. So maybe I'll talk to Marty Crowley this week. We got North Smithfield, the Northmen, peaking at the perfect time in high school baseball, Lincoln Lions. So we're going to get to a lot more local things and recap everything else that's going on in the NHL and NBA next week here on Kevin's Sports Show. So thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next week. And if we didn't get to your phone call, I'm sorry. We'll answer the trivia question next week as well. Thank you all very much, and I hope you have a great day.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
NBC News Radio, I'm Rob Martier. The Israeli government is vowing to escalate its invasion in Rafah despite increasing controversy surrounding their military operations. The announcement came Friday, just hours after the International Court of Justice issued a ruling demanding Israel halt operations in Rafah due to concerns about acts of genocide occurring against Palestinians. President Biden has previously said he has a line against an Israeli invasion in Rafah if it caused wide-scale destruction or mass casualties. Just 1 in 4 Americans say a college degree is very important to get a well-paying job. A Pew Research survey says 40% do not believe it's important to get a degree to secure a well-paying job. Republicans were more likely than Democrats to say they think college degrees are less important than they were 20 years ago. Researchers say many have doubts about whether the high cost is worth it. Not all New York City beaches are expected to open this Memorial Day. Lisa G. reports.
Governor Hochul says the reason is due to a lifeguard shortage, but adds the state is pumping some $150 million into a program called New York Swims.
We want to make sure New Yorkers have access to swimming opportunities that are safe on the water.
New York City is working to recruit.
The filmmaker behind the documentary Super Size Me has died. The family of Morgan Spurlock announced he passed away Thursday at the age of 53. His film, where he conducted an experiment that saw him eat only food from McDonald's for 30 days, was a hit in 2004. It earned $22 million at the global box office. The documentary also earned critical acclaim, receiving a nomination for Best Documentary Feature at the Academy Awards. The top tennis players in the world are meeting on the clay courts at the French Open this weekend. On the men's side, Novak Djokovic earned the top seed in the field. On the women's side, Iga Swiatek will be looking to defend her title. American Coco Gauff is the third seed and is the highest-seeded American. Rob Martier, NBC News Radio.
Rhode Island's trusted physical therapy experts,